Hey y'all. Um, Welcome to I got my heart broken and decided to make a podcast. I'll be honest. This is take two of this episode. Not that I should be telling y'all this or whatever, but I'm gonna tell you. I probably was filming for 15 minutes. Well, I was probably talking for 15 minutes. And it only got 8 minutes. And it stopped at like one of the very beginning points that I made. So now I'm extra paranoid that either I don't have storage to continue, I guess, this, which is fine. Like I can take care of it. I know why I don't have storage because I shouldn't be filming on my phone, but gave myself a little pass. Okay, you can film on your phone. First couple episodes, like I have the stuff to film and everything and do stuff like I guess the right way, but that don't even matter. Did I have you know I have certain goals that I gotta hit, and right now, filming on my phone is helping me achieve these current goals that I'm in when it comes to these episodes. But anyway, just a little hiccup. Shit happens. It literally a podcast that I watch. It's called Lovers by Shannon Boodram. I love her. I've been watching her since I was 12. She had to refilm her entire episode with Raven Simone and her wife. And obviously, that's very inconvenient, but they did it and shit happens and that's just production. Sometimes, you're not recording or sometimes shit stops recording, you don't know it. But that's why it's good to go back and double check. It's a lesson in everything. So anyway, um today we will be discussing life and death, and then also putting timelines on your life. So let's jump right into it. I want to start with saying the inspiration behind this episode was my great uncle. Uncle Donald is about to die. I don't know how to say that without saying it so bluntly, but he is close to being with God or being an ancestor. And I'm happy for him. But and I'll touch on that real quick. I'm happy for him because he's lived his life, like he's not old. I think he's like 50, 60. So he's not an old person, but he's lived his life. He feels he's ready to go on to the next dimension. He's ready to die. I haven't spoken to him since the family reunion, but no, Uncle Donald, he's chilling. He's okay. Like I know him. And I'm not worried about, like, I guess him dying. I'm worried about how some people will take his death. Like my grandma, that's her favorite brother. And my grandma, like, that's my only living grandparent. Let me touch on this real quick in case other people, just to, nah, I ain't even gonna touch on it. This ain't even, I'll get onto it maybe later in the episode. But yeah, that's my grandma's favorite brother. So, like, like, I want to make sure she's okay and she feels supported and she feels, and this is, me as her grandchild, this is what I think my responsibility is. How can I show up for her while she's grieving the loss of her brother that, you know, comforts her um in a way that, like I said, just in a way she feels supported. um that's all I can do, you know what I'm saying? And I also live 800 some miles away from my grandma. So my regular calls and text messages will have to increase a little bit. That's, I think, decent. The most, like I said, I can do for right now, just with me being so far away, just holding space for her. Yeah. But thank you, Uncle Donald, for being the inspiration to this episode. Um, yeah, thank you for all the lessons you kind of taught me. throughout your lifetime. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you. And if your soul feels as though it didn't achieve its mission, I guess I'll meet you again. But that you impacted my life in a great way, and I 10 out of 10 appreciate that. Um, so told y'all the inspiration behind it. What do I mean by life is a series of deaths until the real one? So you die. Everything, like, you die a lot. Like, versions of you die a lot. Like, you go through many phases in life, and every phase served a purpose. Every phase helped you get to who you are now. But you go through many phases, and there's that it's a mini death, like, I guess I can touch on me. I'm currently in a phase of I'm in a healing phase, but not what I normally like. I don't know. I don't normally act like this when I'm healing. I've never purposely chosen my art when I experience so much. Like, I got my heart broken and decided to create a podcast. I told y'all about the girl that was the inspiration behind it, and just like all of that. But I didn't like. There's more details to it. Like, I was been supposed to create a podcast a while ago. I was been supposed to, like, just create so many different things um in my life, and I didn't. I went through so much, and when I was homeless and stuff, I wasn't creating at all. I wasn't creating, and that's probably the time when I should have been creating the most. I mean, I was working on my documentary, but I wasn't creating, and I think that's why I felt everything so much more, and I acted the way that I did. I mean, everything happens for a reason, and I'm beyond thankful for the things that I've experienced and the lessons that have come with what I've experienced. But god damn, had I just used my art instead of using to express myself and to push through, maybe I wouldn't have been in certain situations. But again, everything happens for a reason. Um, and that's why I got my heart broke recently. Like, I mean, there's so many different reasons on why I got my damn heart broke, but this most recent John, I got my heart broke because, listen, motherfucker had to push me over the edge to be like, fuck this shit. I'm finna just create some shit. I'm just finna talk about this on a podcast. I'm finna create some skits and some short films, and I promise you, all of that shit is coming because I am someone that needs to talk about something a good 15,000 times before I'm over it. And I don't want to drain my friends. I don't want to drain my circle because I'm not gonna lie, I don't be having new shit to say, but y'all never heard this stuff. So I can talk about it with y'all and it not be something that's annoying. You're not in my circle, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is really what it is. Like, I can express myself in a whole different way when it comes to this shit, when it comes to my art. And that's what I am. I say I'm an artist, but like, what art were y'all seeing from me? You feel me? But okay, like I was saying, life is a series of deaths until the real one. So when I was homeless, that person that got me through it, that person that was in super duper survival mode, she, god damn, she got me through it, but she doesn't serve me for what I experience now in life. Just like that. Like, the way I would move when I was homeless, I can't move like that now. I can't get to where I want to go now. Like, yeah, help me get here, but there needs to be a death of that person because I'm not going to improve. But a more simple, example of life is a series of deaths until your real one. If you eat animals, if you're a carnivore, those animals had to die in order for you to be able to consume it. Before you can eat it, it has to be dead. We ain't getting into the cooking and shit, but before you eat an animal, it has to be dead. So that's just a very simple reason. You eat plants, you're vegetarian, or whatever you eat animals and plants. All right, whatever you choose to be or whatever you are, the stuff has to not be alive while you are eating it. It needs to have some type of healing properties in order for it to really charge you up. It needs to be nutritious, but for the most part, your food had to die before real food had to die before you could consume it. I think even like so if you ask me, why do I like traveling? Why do I like living in different places? Why am I so curious on just other ways of life? It is to understand, but it's to understand because I want to be I'm a well-rounded person, I ain't gonna lie. But I want to be able to I guess relate to everyone because every human has every human, we can all relate when it comes to something. And even if that something is the fact that we all motherfucking breathe oxygen, we all can relate through something, you know? So with that being said, I want to travel a lot because I read somewhere that when you travel to another country, it changes, it reorganizes your brain. That's deep, dog. Living in Florida changed how I view the world. So I can only imagine how another country, a country that doesn't follow the same principles that mine does, how that will impact me, how that will change me, how that will make me more empathetic. I think about how that dash between your birth date and your death date is your life. And I think the purpose of life is to experience as much as you can experience, to understand as much as you can understand, to be as impactful as possible. And in order to be impactful, I think you have to experience shit. You can't have not gone through anything and think that people are going to trust you on your journey. And if we're going to really get it, I'm not a Christian, but I can give them this. The purpose in Jesus experiencing all the hardship that he did was to show Christians or his followers that you can still follow God's word and have experienced so many different adversities. You can still face adversity and still be a good person. Yeah, it's just the basis and then just a summarized version of it. But I think that during your dash is your journey. During your life, your journey is your life, you want to experience so much. How they tell young people, oh, while you're young, just travel so much. Because you're going to experience a death of that version of you that was so ignorant to other people's lives. Man, I could really get deep with this shit and on some real shit. if you look up primary documents, and I'm so thankful for college because I've been able to take courses and learn about things that the average person hasn't and share my knowledge. But if you read primary documents about things that Europeans or colonizers, as I call them, said about African culture and things that were going on in Africa back in the day, then you will, I guess, then you, and then you read the secondary documents that, or the other primary documents, whichever you end up reading, that lie are like, actually, no, you're demonizing this, but this is really not what it is. I'm not gonna lie, I'm about to go back and reread these documents that I have from my class because that shit is impactful. But I don't know, y'all. I'm saying it's easy to judge somebody when you don't have all the knowledge, but it's easier to understand when you go ask questions, when you go experience. Again, it makes you a more well-rounded person. It helps you communicate. I'm gonna start reading more books on, like, um, just communication in different ways we communicate, because that's another type of fixation I have. Shout out to ADHD. Um, but I would like to also get into, because these two topics do go hand in hand, life being a series of deaths until you're a real one, but also putting timelines on your life. So although, it's good to have goals, it's good to be goal oriented, I don't think your life is meant to always be achieving a fucking goal. Not that you don't have like overall goals and like mini goals, yes, but I don't think you're supposed to live your life. I have to go do this. I have to go do that. I have to do this by this certain time. Like, I don't think your life is supposed to be met in that way. I don't think life is linear at all. Just like healing, isn't linear, but I don't I don't think that the human experience is as black and white as we portray. Um because some people are murderers. Some people have taken lives. And that doesn't mean that that person has bad patterns. I'm not saying that it's good to take another person's life. That's not what I'm saying, but as a human, we we have so many, like, we go through so many different things, and to put a timeline on yourself, oh, I have to achieve this by this time, it it I think it just puts more pressure on you, and it might make you not want to do it anymore. Um the beginning of this year, I had this long list of things I wanted to achieve before 2025 ended. And I ended up getting distracted. I got into the relationship with a liar. And I'm not blaming the liar because I'm a grown ass woman. I make my own motherfucking decisions. But my relationship with the liar threw me off of my track when it comes to my goals. In some ways, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think my relationship with the liar served a certain purpose, and it helped me get to where I am now, where now I am focused on my goals, and where now I am doing this and I am doing that. But my relationship with the liar, like I said, just served its purpose for, I guess, what it served its purpose for. I don't feel like this is not the episode about the liar, so I don't really need to get into it. But if I just stayed on that, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I wouldn't have gotten anywhere. I wouldn't have learned the lessons that I needed to learn in 2025. And I'm honestly really learning, like, I'm not putting timelines on myself anymore. I'm not comparing my journey to somebody else's journey, because that's really what you're doing. When you start saying, oh, I gotta achieve this, I have to be married by 20 motherfucking 5. I gotta have 4 kids by 25. Why are you rushing yourself? I'm not saying, and it's not that, and I'm not saying people that did that, they rushed themselves. No, that was just, I'm not saying people that are married by 25 rushed their life. No. I'm saying if you're married by 25, then um, you just had a series of life events that contributed to you being married at 25. And I just think, don't put a time limit on what you have. Think it cheapens in your life in a way. And just to be living by timelines of someone that doesn't have your life experience, it's just not realistic. It adds stupid ass unnecessary stress that you don't need. I don't think you should compare your life to anyone else's, even your siblings. Even if y'all were raised in the same house, shit, even if y'all are all triplets, y'all have the same, y'all came out the womb well, not at the exact same time, but the same day. Y'all all have the same parents. Y'all don't internalize everything the same way. Even if y'all are identical triplets, you like, y'all aren't one person. Even if you want to get into, having a twin flame, and a twin flame is someone who basically you share a soul with, and they just split and it's in another body. Even them, they have a different life experience than you. You have to take into account that everybody's life is different. And you can't, and that's why you can't be like, oh, when I did this, around this age, I did this. Like, yo, and when parents, like, I experienced this with my parents. These niggas, man, they start, my mom, motherfucking, she be like, when I was her age, I had my own crib. I did this, I did that. Yeah, baby, you was living a different life. And yeah, baby, the fucking rent wasn't an arm and a leg. Yeah, baby, when, you had a kid, you didn't have a motherfucking choice. Yeah, baby, you've been, living life like an adult since you was younger than me. Younger than, I was. So it's like, you gotta take into account people's life experiences and how it shaped them. And you can't compare your life to nobody else's life. That's where you fuck up at. And I think that's what putting a timeline on your life does. And it's you inherently comparing your life to someone else's. Even like, we be talking about like the older folks and how they was married at 15, had their first kid at 19, all of this and all of that. Nigga, they was fucking, the women were fucking victims. Like, yo, the world was trashed then, and even the world is trashed now. I think the world has always been trash because humans are trash. But, I mean, through the years, we're supposed to learn. I don't fucking know, because a lot of times, history repeats itself. I ain't gonna lie, yo. When I'm making this, I don't know what the fuck the world is gonna look like when this does come out. And this comes out in a couple months, right? But when I'm making this, yo, Trump's fucking orange ass had the National Guard go to California for the fucking peaceful ICE protest. He's like Hitler, bro. I'm not gonna lie. He is like Hitler. And I don't think Americans are conscious enough. We talk about it A lot of us talk about it, but the everyday American is not conscious enough about what the fuck is going on. Because, like, y'all, we have the power to overturn our motherfucking government. Why are we not doing that? Like, yeah, we could vote these niggas out, but also, like, on some real shit, bro. Get on some Malcolm X type shit, bruh. That's all I'm saying. Like, everybody want to be scared. Everybody, if you a YN, act like a YN for your motherfucking community, for the benefit of your fucking community. I'm off topic, but I'm just saying, like, bro, people want to do you want to claim this and claim that, but like, come on, claim some shit that really matter. Like, shit that actually is gonna live past your life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What's something that's gonna live past your life? Them clothes you got, that shit ain't it's not gonna fucking matter. Like those shoes, that's just not gonna matter. What's gonna matter is how you impacted the world in a positive or negative way. And hopefully you choose the positive way. But yeah, back to just, putting a timeline on your life. There's a sense of freedom that you get from not putting a timeline on yourself, from just allowing just trusting the timeline of your life, trusting God. You don't have a lot of control in this life. You only have control over you and your reactions. You don't have control over whether you're going to wake up tomorrow or not. You don't have control over whether one of your closest friends are going to die, or whether, you know, and not even to, just even the extreme of death, but you don't have control over whether you get into a car accident one day or not, and that change. You don't have control over your whole life. Like, a lot of this shit is not in our control. What you can do is how you roll with the punches, how you just trust your life and just always trust that everything works out for you. But you can't, I think, to just, and I do this, I've done this, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not sitting here speaking from a hypocritical place, but it doesn't benefit you. It doesn't help you at the fuck all to be thinking and moving like, it just doesn't help you to just be thinking like the world just doesn't, I don't know, man. It just doesn't help you to just think about, like, to just compare your life to someone else's. It doesn't. It's not beneficial at all. And I think people should fucking stop doing that. Like, it just doesn't help you. I think people should stop comparing their life to other people's lives. You don't have their life experience. You didn't experience what the fuck they experienced. And even if you have experienced what they experienced, you are not them. You can't tell somebody how to live their life. Give them advice, but bottom line, your life ain't their life. Your timeline's not their timeline. You gotta let people make mistakes and experience shit for them. This ain't saying don't set boundaries, don't do what's best for you. No, but you gotta let people experience life for themselves. You can't experience life for them. That's the bottom line. And that's how it is, Don't put no timeline on your life. Just trust the process of your life. And, you're going to hear that for however long you hear it. And it's going to just randomly click one day. One day you'll just randomly get it. That's how it happened to me. People told me, my friend Elijah, she told me, don't put a timeline on your life. Don't put a timeline on your goals. She also told me to just go with the flow a while ago. It didn't click until it just clicked. You stop rushing. What the fuck are you rushing to? You rushing to your death? When you start rushing your life, rushing yourself to achieve these goals, Where do you rush into your death? I get it. Your perspective's a little different. You've been sick or you have health issues, but it's like, what do you rush into? None of this shit matters. At the end of the day, none of it matters. None of it's that deep. Just vibe, twin. What are you rushing for? I don't know. That's my TED talk. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode though. I ain't even gonna lie, my voice is a little different because I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I went to go check to see if my Amazon package was out. Side of my door, the shit wasn't. I was pissed off, and then I was like, well, you got some episodes to shoot. So, hot breath and all, shoot that episode before you start that day because I already know you're going to get sidetracked. Let's do it while you got the motivation, you feel me? But, yeah, I hope you enjoy this. I hope, I'm just beginning to find my target audience. Yeah, hope I guess I impacted you in some way. If I didn't, well, I impacted myself, so that still matters. Um, yeah. Check out my socials. Thanks for listening. Bye.